This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. What's up, everybody? Welcome to hour number 2 of the Stephen A. Smith Show right here, coming at you on ESPN Radio. As I love to do every weekday, 250 plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio Sirius XM style. Channel 80. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Here's a reminder, the perfect Valentine's gifts are at 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, you can get 18 red roses for only $29.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for only $10 more. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. Also reminding you that ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Home Insurance. Getting a quote is easier than ever before. You know, we got a lot of stuff to get into. Hour number 2, no doubt about that, and we certainly will do that. More to talk about with the Cavs. Going to get in a little bit to Jimmy Garoppolo, $137.5 million, 5-year deal. Got to get into the Love Doctor because the Love Doctor making a visit about 15 minutes past hour number 2. Love Doctor never fails. Love Doctor never fails. That's what Martin Lawrence used to say. Love Doctor never fails. It's Valentine's Day, courtesy of 1-800-Flowers. The Love Doctor pays a visit to every show through Valentine's Day next week, so make sure you tune in, stick around. Love Doctor paying a visit. But I got to tell you this. Getting back to Jimmy G for just a second, because you know the NBA topics ain't going anywhere. Warriors are still the team to beat. Houston, a lot of people are starting to believe in them. San Antonio still can't be counted out because look at what they're doing. They're still winning enough games, and Kawhi Leonard hasn't even been playing. So imagine what they may do once he gets back. We can't ignore that reality as well. And, of course, Oklahoma City is not to be underestimated. In the Eastern Conference, the Cavaliers, as far as I'm concerned, courtesy of getting rid of 6 players and bringing in 4 new players. They're younger, they're more athletic, they're better defensively, and they're devoid of all the drama. Isaiah Thomas, the newest member of the Los Angeles Lakers, however, I got to say this about him. Nothing but sympathy, heartfelt sympathy for him. Last year, averaging 28.9 points per game, leading Boston to being the number 1 seed in the East. This is a guy that was an MVP candidate. Lost his sister in a fatal car accident. Played through the pain and the agony. Led his team to a victory over Washington in the semifinals. Went up against the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals. Hurt his hip. Couldn't really go after game 1. Had off-season surgery, got traded because of it. Danny Ainge had an opportunity to get Kyrie Irving. This is a guy that's been perpetually and universally underpaid and underappreciated and was looking to cash in, if not to $200 million, at least $150 to $175 million. Ladies and gentlemen, because of that hip injury, because of the way he has looked, combined with the drama that he's been associated with people pointing fingers at him, because they said he was talking too much, complaining about shots, complaining about coaching schemes, complaining about other players, et cetera, et cetera. This is the picture they're painting of him. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's the picture they're painting of him. And as a result, when you look at all of that, here's what it comes down to. One could legitimately make the argument that Isaiah Thomas has cost himself about $100 million. Fair or unfair? That's the reality. So we've got that as a problem for him. That is no such problem for Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo, $137.5 million. Here's my argument. I would have given him the money. I have to if I'm San Francisco. You're 1-10 without him. In the power rankings, you rank about 31st. You had lost 24 of your previous 26 games. And then all of a sudden, Jimmy Garoppolo comes on board. You win 5 straight. He's got the highest QBR in football. And then 7 starts, 2 with New England, and then the other 5 a year later with San Francisco. The man completed better than 68% of his passes, threw for 2,000 yards, had 11 touchdowns and just 5 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 113 at one point. If you're the San Francisco 49ers, as moribund and pathetic as you have been, you had to give him the money. And I'm not even saying that he doesn't deserve it. What I'm saying is I don't know. And the question is 7 games alone enough material to make that kind of investment in a quarterback that is Jimmy Garoppolo, that played behind Tom Brady and played in the New England system? I'm just wondering, who better to have an answer than my man Carlton in Tampa? You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Carlton? Good afternoon, buddy. Good morning.
I am not going to allow Stephen A. Benedict Arnold to recreate history and tell Jenkins and Graham on your First Take show that you picked the Eagles.
I did.
You picked the New England Patriots.
Yes, I did.
The same slimy team that Malcolm Jenkins informed you. The Eagles had a fake walkthrough.
Well, I didn't know that. I know about the fake walkthrough that the pitcher told us about, the puncher rather told us about. I know about the fake walkthrough and all of that stuff. It was hilarious. I did pick the Eagles, and then I turned against them when Alshon Jeffrey made that guarantee, and then I had to go on a radio show, and you were annoying me. And I said, damn it, Alshon Jeffrey's got me nervous. I got to turn against them. But you're absolutely right. Go ahead, Carlton.
If the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Philadelphia Eagles play in next year's Super Bowl, you're not going to be allowed in the state of Pennsylvania because the Steelers had already revoked your black and gold membership card.
You know what? I'm disgusted with the Steelers defense. I keep asking Mike Tomlin to get a secondary, man. It's been about 5 years I've been asking him to get a secondary. It's driving me nuts.
They got a new secondary coach, didn't they? I
they did. Yeah, I think so. Like they had to do something.
Now your fate is tied to the slimy New England Patriots and Josh McDaniels, the weasel who reneged on the Colts job. By the way, today on your show, Max Kellerman, Mr. Football Genius, talks about that he would trust McDaniels and Belichick, in terms of their quarterback knowledge over anybody else, and so therefore he's banking on Jimmy G being great, being worth all this money. I hate to tell you, Josh McDaniels, after he got fired by Denver for cheating, the following year he was the offensive coordinator for the LA Rams. This is the 2011 season. The LA Rams set the lowest point total scored by any of the 32 teams that year, and no team has gotten lower points in the 7 years since. There's Josh McDaniels' genius, his quarterback whisperer nature. And let me list you the quarterbacks that Bill Belichick has drafted. Keithan McCant, Eric Zier, Rohan Davey, Cliff Kingsbury, Matt Castle, Corey Bramlett, Matt Gutierrez, Kevin O'Connell, Brian Hoyer, Zach Robinson, Ryan Mallett, and then Jimmy Garoppolo, and then followed finally by Jacoby Brissett. I did it! Jimmy Garoppolo is worth this money. First off, one transaction does not determine a market. You've heard the saying, a fool and his money are soon parted. Well, the 49ers and their money are soon parted. Let me give you Jimmy G's last 7 games. Against the Cardinals when he was with the Patriots, he wins because Mike Catanzaro misses a 46-yard indoor game-ending field goal.
That's true. Keep going.
Second game, he doesn't last 2 quarters before
he gets hurt.
What's that?
Before he got hurt.
That's his second game, okay?
Yes.
This year, his first game with the 49ers, he scores 15 points and beats Trubisky of the Bears. So the only reason he wins that game is because Trubisky has stunk this year, okay?
Yes,
he scored 15 points. His next game against the Houston Texans, he goes up against their third-string quarterback.
Yep.
Watson was injured. Savage was injured in the week before.
I remember.
He's going up against
let me say this before I let you go because we're running out of time, Carlton. A lot of people are giving him credit because he dropped 44 on one of the top 2 defenses in the NFL, Jacksonville. That's what a lot of them are going by. I'm with you. I'm not going to be as hardcore as you, but I'm with you from the standpoint. I'm not sure Jimmy G is worth this. So make your last point real quick.
Stephen A. Bortles threw 3 interceptions that game. It was his worst game the entire year. And the final game against the LA Rams, they set the whole first string. It's unbelievable. This Jimmy G is worth $137.5 million.
I will tell you this. Jay Cutler once signed for 126.
A fool and his money is soon parted, Stephen A.
I got you, buddy. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Carlton. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. We got to transition from basketball to football and now to the Love Doctor because Valentine's Day is coming up. And there are people in here that need the doctor to make a house call. So I've allowed them to do just that. The Love Doctor's up next with Stephen A. ESPN Radio.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like I'm on top of the world.
Disclaimer, you will not be transported to the top of the world. In the unlikely event you find yourself at the Arctic Circle, seek shelter from the elements immediately to avoid frostbite and or hypothermia. Geico will not be responsible if you find yourself in a cave or crevasse with a lonely abominable snowman, who in all likelihood will force you to play games including but not limited to Go Fish, charades, Chinese checkers, or his personal favorite, Red Rover, send Yeti on over. Geico is not liable for any damages, either physical or emotional.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Big Valentine's gift. All right, 1-800-Flowers.com. That's the perfect Valentine's gift. They're at 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, you can get 18 red roses for only $29.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for only $10 more. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/Stephen A. You know, this segment was born from the fact that 1-800-Flowers obviously loves it because folks called into the show. And I was joking around. I'm a huge fan of the comedian Martin Lawrence and the show Martin that was on in the 90s. I'm a diehard fan of it. I watch episodes to this very day. I can tell you practically every episode, for crying out loud. That's how much I love that show, especially the first 3 seasons. And one of my favorite episodes, if not my most favorite episode of all time, was when Martin became the love doctor. You understand? Because he was hosting some show and this couple was going at it with one another. He said, hold on. I got this. And started giving them love advice. You gotta be friends first. And the crowd started cheering. And then all of a sudden he was talking about need to give advice and what have you. And didn't realize he was giving Tommy advice that was going to help him hook up with Pam, Martin's nemesis. Hilarious episode. He used to sit up there tell me, love doctor here, love doctor's here, love doctor never fails. That's what he always used to say. And then he ended by saying, now get on out of here, I'm the love doctor. It was hilarious. So I joked around and used to do it on radio. And next thing you know, everybody started calling up the love doctor. Yours truly. With some advice. So since Valentine's Day is approaching, 1-800-Flowers said, damn it, bring it back. And that's what I'm doing. D'Angelo in Washington, D.C., you live with Stephen A. What's up, man? Talk to me.
Hey, man. How you doing? Just wanted to say thank you for taking my call.
Okay.
Calling from Washington, D.C.
I'm here for you.
Your work since 2005.
I appreciate that, but forget about me right now. The love doctor is here. You got problems. What's going on? Talk to me. I'm here.
I have an extreme issue. My issue is I got a girl. We've been dating for about 3 years now. We just moved in together and had our first child.
Okay, congratulations.
But it just seems like, yeah, thank you, I appreciate it. Name's Kylie. But it just seems ever since we moved in together, she just never has her half of the bills. And it's leaving me high and dry. And, Valentine's Day is coming up and my pockets is not where they're supposed to be because I'm always covering for her.
So she's not great with money.
Nah, she has a high, work ethic, but she doesn't have she doesn't upkeep it. She just doesn't.
Okay. Now, hold on. Now, I got a couple of questions, so I need quick answers to this, okay? Has this become a problem since y'all had the kid?
At first, it was a little bit easy. But, I had a little more money to spend then, so
what I'm asking is, the kid could be, obviously a child is an added expense. You do understand that. So just maybe some of her money is going to things that the child needs. And she's looking for you to handle some of the other needs while she takes care of this end.
Very, very true. During her maternity leave, I made sure she was able to sit out for her 3 months, and I took care of all other bills and things like that. And after she came back from her job, she got a very big promotion, so she should have a little more money than usual.
Well, let me say this. Hold on. I'm not going to completely come to her defense, but I'm not going to completely absolve you either. You are the man. Understand that your primary obligation as a man is to provide for and protect your family. That is your family. The number one thing you have to do is provide. Now, that doesn't mean that she doesn't have any responsibilities, but if you just acknowledge to me that one of the issues might be the fact that y'all have a new child. You have a newborn child. And as a result, that some of her expenses goes to that child, then you got to be fair and understand that you got to step up, because if she's spending her money on her child, then, if you weren't spending the money that you were spending where you're spending it, you'd have to spend more on the child as well yourself. So it's going to come, that responsibility is going to be there no matter what. You do understand that?
Yes, sir.
And so you need to sit down and have a talk with her about it. Tell her this is one of your concerns and that you would like to address it, but also be very understanding and reasonable with her, because she's the mother of your child, and you've openly admitted that some of her expenses might be from her doting on the child. That's your child too, which means that she's spending it because she's loving on a human being, a child that both of you contributed to bringing into this world. That requires a strong level of understanding on your part. So you state your case, but state it gently and with a very understanding tone, because she's not just blowing it. She's doting on the person that you love most in this world, and that's your child. All right?
Yes, sir.
Have a good day, my man. And get on out of here. I'm the Love Doctor. Alex in Connecticut, you're live with Stephen A. How are you, man?
Hey, Steve. How you doing, man?
I'm here for you, man. Talk to me. What's on your mind?
All right, here's my situation. I think I'm about ready to be in a relationship, Stephen A. And
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. You said what?
Oh, I said I'm ready to be in a relationship.
Oh, you think you're ready to be in a relationship? Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah. And, I don't want to use one of these apps, Stephen A. Where am I supposed to meet my dream girl?
Wow. Now, where do you live?
I live in a town.
Okay, you said Connecticut, right? You live in Connecticut, right?
It's maybe an hour from New York City.
Okay. Well, first of all, you don't have to use an app, but there are online dating sites that you can visit. But the other thing is, how often do you get out? Do you go to the supermarket? Do you go to the mall? I mean, do you go out to there's plenty of places. I mean, you can meet women all over the place. You do understand that?
Yeah. So if I go to the supermarket or the mall, I just go up and just start being a nice guy?
Well, it depends. If you find somebody that you're interested in, sometimes that's what it takes. I mean, sometimes, I mean, it's like, don't be aggressive. Don't make somebody uncomfortable. But there's nothing wrong with walking up to a lovely young lady and telling her that you find her attractive and you wouldn't mind getting to know her better. You never know how receptive somebody's going to be. Now, Bond, understand something here. This is very, very important. 9 times out of 10 as a man, you get turned down. You do understand that. So
yeah, I understand.
There has to be a level of perseverance attached to this. But here's the flip side. Understand that women outnumber men in this day and age like 17-1. And that's not taking the gay population into consideration. It's not taking the incarcerated population into consideration. It's actually harder for women than it is for men to actually meet somebody. So are you sure, Alex, that you're getting out more, that you're not getting, that you're getting out enough? Because my answer is, if you've gotten out enough, there's no way on earth you couldn't have run across people that you'd love to connect with.
Hey, I appreciate those words, Stephen A.
And you can also go to different spots, sports bars and things of that nature. If you're a sports fan and you like sports and you go to a sports bar and you see ladies there, guess what? They're there because they like sports, or they like to be around men who like sports. So there's different ways, but also always make sure your approach is smooth and respectful, because no woman wants some rugged, uncouth dude that don't know how to conduct himself. Remember that. Okay?
Any problems?
But believe in you. Because if you don't believe in you, why the hell should she? Remember that. All right?
All right. Appreciate the time.
All right. Now get on out of here. I'm the Love Doctor. I love saying that. The perfect Valentine's gifts are at 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, you can get 18 red roses for only $29.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for only $10 more. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. I stole that from Martin Lawrence, like I told y'all. One of my favorite all-time comedians. I have a ball with that segment. Got some more to get to, plus some more sports talk. So stick around. Don't touch that dial. You're listening live to Stephen A. on ESPN.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
Let's go back to the phones. Can't see the calls up here. Let's go back to the phones at 888-729-3776. It's 888-SAY-ESPN. Let's go to LJ in Houston. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, LJ. How you doing?
What's going on, Stephen A? It's been a while, man, but I wanted to touch on a couple of topics today. Man. First of all, you kind of subbed it up in your first segment about Dan Gilbert putting the pressure back on LeBron.
Yep.
So he won't have to say that he has any excuses.
That's exactly what he's done.
Yeah, because I think Dan Gilbert traded Kyrie out of spite to get back to LeBron because he knew that was the only team that could really have a potential to beat them and go to the finals.
Well, not just that. You got to remember Kyrie sort of forced their hand because, he was basically saying, I'm not going to play. I'm done with this franchise.
Yeah, but he didn't have to trade him to Boston, though.
That's
he could have sent him somewhere else. But I just think it was out of spite for LeBron.
You could have a point there because he did bring them 5 choices. New York was one of them. The San Antonio Spurs was another scene. He did give him options. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. But let me throw this at you. I've been debating with some friends, man, about this top all-time of NBA players. So I wanted to ask you a question since you've been covering the league for 20 years. When you talk about the tops of all time, don't they have to have won a championship to be considered? Like, you can't put nobody over like Magic, Jordan, Duncan, and Kareem if they haven't won a championship.
Well, for the most part, you're right. But man, it's certain. Like for example, this is a different sport. But can we really hold it against Dan Marino that he never won a Super Bowl?
No, but it's one of the players on the football team. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying with basketball. It's a bit different because one player can make a profound difference. It might not be everything, but it makes a profound difference. So you could make that argument. That's fair.
Okay, I just want to get your opinion because everybody's been arguing with me, but when people argue me about it, I just stop the conversation.
Well, I don't think that, just because you're a champion, that makes you a better player. But you changed the question. You're saying, how can you be the greatest ever and there's no championship? That's a different kind of question, and I understand the difference. I appreciate the call, though, man. That's a good point. Thanks a lot, man. Let's go to Richard in Manhattan. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
Stephen, your greatest show ever was 7 years ago after the NBA lockout. Christmas Day, Sunday morning. You were great. 2010, your NBA preview show, man. I wish you'd get another show like that. That was wonderful.
Thanks a lot. Go ahead, buddy.
Stephen A., explain this to me. Golden State and Houston both have the same record, virtually. Maybe one game separate.
Yeah.
Golden State's got 4 All-Stars. Houston's got 1 All-Star. What does that mean?
Well, what it means is that James Harden is the league MVP right now, number one. What it does also mean is that Golden State hasn't looked as formidable as they've looked the last 2 years. That teams are figuring out how to rile them up a little bit. They're leading the league in techs. Draymond Green is 2 techs away from forcing himself to have a one-game suspension. Kevin Durant has been outspoken before apologizing to referees. When you look at all of those different things, what it's telling us here is that Golden State, as formidable as they are, knowing that they are still the best, might have slipped just a touch, and that Houston is coming.
One more for you. John Stockton retired 10 years ago, right?
Yes.
Since he's retired, who has been in the NBA the best white American-born ball player? I mean, the only guy I can come up with is Kevin Love. That's all we have in 10 years in the NBA?
Probably. I got to think about it some more, but off the top of my head, probably. Probably. You might be right. Because when you look at Dirk Nowitzki, he's German. Manu Ginobili, these are international players. So you might be right. You might have a point. Appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much. Daryl in Virginia, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Isaiah Thomas. Like, what role do you see him playing with the Lakers, being that they got Lonzo Ball, with their top draft choice?
Well, what I see is him ultimately coming off the bench and being that spark plug and that Energizer bunny off the bench. That's what I see. If you're looking for him to start, I don't believe you can start him and Lonzo Ball together. Luke Walton has stated otherwise, but I don't believe that. I don't believe that you can I do not believe that you can start them both together because they're both defensive liabilities. Lonzo Ball is not strong enough, and Isaiah Thomas is not tall enough. Lonzo Ball has had his good moments defensively, though, and I think we have to pay attention to that because he is long. But still in all, both of them together is a huge discrepancy, is a huge liability defensively in the backcourt. And I don't know if you can start them together. So you'd have to have Isaiah Thomas coming off the bench. He'd be your energizer bunny. He'd push it on that level, and that would be that.
I think that would be his best role, but correct me if I'm wrong. I think I've seen something when he said he didn't want to come off the bench.
Well, his agent said that. But Isaiah Thomas, I got news for anybody. Isaiah Thomas has lost leverage. He's cost himself over $100 million. The injury, and then Danny Ainge trading him from Boston to Cleveland, and then all the muttering that's been taking place. Kobe Altman, the rookie GM for the Cleveland Cavaliers, said we had to change our culture because our culture was bad. It wasn't just our on-court play; it was our off-court culture. And then you find out that Isaiah Thomas was one of the people that made the most noise initially about Kevin Love leaving the arena before the game was over when he got injured against OKC. You hear about him complaining about shots. You hear about him complaining about the coaches. This is what they're saying about him. I'm not saying this about Isaiah Thomas because I think he's sort of being given a bad rap to some degree because I understand it's not perfect, but look at his situation, Daryl. This is a guy that played lights out in Boston, lost his sister, played through all of that, hurt his hip, gets traded to a place he doesn't want to go to, has to try and fit in, has to rush himself back despite the fact that his hip is still not 100% healthy, and do all those different things because he's approaching a contract year and looking to get paid after years of being underappreciated. He's watching Kyle Lowry get a 3-year, $100 million deal. A Bradley Beal get $138 million. A John Wall get $175 million extension. A Steph Curry, getting over $207 million. A Chris Paul walking away from a 5-year, $200+ million extension to leave the Clippers to go to Houston. And he's saying, what about himself? Especially after the year that he just had. At least he could get $150 million or something. And now he'd be lucky to get half that. It's a bad situation for Isaiah Thomas right now compared to what it once was, and I feel bad for him.
My last question, real quick. I'm glad you mentioned the contracts and stuff like that because what kind of market is out there for Isaiah Thomas
None.
in the future?
None. Not right now, nothing. He's got to show he can play again. Nothing's out there for him now. That's the answer. Appreciate the call. 888-SAY-ESPN, that's 888-729-3776. If you're still looking for the perfect Valentine's gift that's going to check all the boxes, you have to visit our friends at 1-800-Flowers.com. With beautiful bouquets and deals to match, winning Valentine's is easy with 1-800-Flowers. Right now, when you order early, you can get 18 red roses for only $29.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for only $10 more. To order 18 red roses for $29.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for only $10 more, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, and enter code SAS. Order today and save at 1-800-Flowers.com, code SAS. Your calls to close out the show in a minute. You're listening live to Stephen A. on ESPN Radio.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
Man, that game last night, North Carolina, Duke, greatest rivalry in sports. North Carolina pulled it out. 51-50 is their record against each other in the last 101 meetings, with 2 points separating them. That's unbelievable. By the way, the college basketball season has started, and that means the Wendy's Wooden Watch has begun. The J.R. Wooden Men's Player of the Year Award presented by Wendy's is the most prestigious individual honor in all of college basketball, awarded to the country's most outstanding player who is also making progress towards earning a degree. So go to ESPN.com and search Wooden Watch for the list of Wooden Award Top 20 late season nominees to watch as this season rolls on. Brought to you by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2018 J.R. Wooden Player of the Year. Back to the phones we go. We got to get on out of here real quick. Make your points real quick, ladies and gentlemen, or I will make them for you. Kevin in Pittsburgh, you're live with Stephen A. Go.
Yeah, Stephen, I just wanted to ask about the LeBron and the situation with them trading players and him trying to get the perfect team around. Do you think the specter of LeBron looms too heavy over teams now that players might not even want to go play with him because it's like playing for two coaches? You got the head coach, Then you got LeBron,
I think that's a very legitimate point. I can tell you that some players have expressed such sentiments from what I'm told. That much I can tell you. I appreciate the call, though. Thank you. Let's go to James in New Jersey. You're live with Stephen A. Real quick, James, go.
Stephen A., I'm a huge fan, man.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I remember yesterday you were talking about the Knicks, and I just wanted to point out, man, the Knicks aren't going to be the new team in town. I think the Nets are going to take over, man.
Well, that ain't hard to say. The Knicks stink. I mean, look, they're 23-33. They're 10 games under 500. Even with Kristaps Porzingis, they was under 500. They can't recruit anybody to come to New York City. I'm holding out hope for Steve Mills and Scott Perry. But I got to admit, Sean Marks and Atkinson and those boys, they're better than I thought they would be. So I'll give credit where credit is due in that regard. You might be right, but let's see first. Don't act like you need to call up to bloviate about the Nets. They ain't that good yet. Chris in L.A., you're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Chris, go.
Stephen A., real quick. I heard you on Steve Harvey this morning. I got 2 questions for you. One, you said that Jordan Clarkson is more consistent than J.R. Smith. Why do you feel that way? And number 2, which I don't know where you got it from, or I think it's blasphemous, but you said James Harden is the heir apparent to Kobe. Come on, Stephen A.
Well, who is? Time out. Who is?
You said James Harden.
No. I'm asking you. Who is the heir apparent to Kobe?
I don't think there is one, Stephen A.
Oh, yes, there is. Oh, yes, there is. Anytime a brother can average 30, we need to see James Harden step up in crucial playoff competition and produce. But in terms of his game and what he does over the course of 82 games in a regular season, there is no question. But I got to run out of time. We could have that debate another time, Chris. Let's go to Calvin in Sacramento. You're live with Stephen A. Real quick. Go ahead, Calvin.
Hi, Stephen A. I'm a big fan. I know this is a little bit out of season, but I just had a question for you. With the Philadelphia Eagles winning the Super Bowl, and you look at coaches like Sean McVay, Pat Shurmur, what is it going to take for Jerry Jones to see that major moves need to be made in Dallas, or is he satisfied with mediocrity?
His willingness to let go of a family member, because in case you didn't notice, Jason Garrett is like an adopted son. The man can do no wrong in Jerry Jones' eyes. There's always somebody else's fault. That's why the Dallas Cowboys ain't going anywhere. Have a nice day. Corey in Dallas, you're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Corey, go ahead.
You just talked about my Cowboys, so I'm going to let you make it on that one. So I want to get on the Lakers, and my man already took the question about Isaiah and his role, but I got some personal ties with some man, Julius Randle. That's my fam. So do you think that he might get dealt?
Did I not ask you to hurry up? I don't even understand your damn question. Ask the question.
Hey, I just
go
asked
ahead.
You about my Lakers. Do you think Julius Randle will get dealt, or if he'll be around the next couple of years?
Listen. They tried to deal him before the season began, but couldn't find any takers. But this year, I think he's elevated his stock. He's been a big contributor off the bench, and I think that's going to help him. So I am of the mindset that Julius Randle's value will be elevated to a point where you'll have a few teams interested in him. I wouldn't rule out the possibility of him being dealt, but guess what else? I wouldn't rule out the possibility of somebody wanting to keep him. The Lakers wanting to keep Julius Randle. I don't think that could be ignored either. Thanks a lot, Corey. Appreciate the call. Got to get on out of here. It's been a very, very interesting week. Cavaliers is now the number 1 team in the East as far as I'm concerned again. Golden State's still number 1, but Houston's coming. Boston is playing Cleveland this weekend. And Boston's going to be real interesting to see what Kyrie does against these new Cavaliers. Things are getting very, very interesting in the Eastern Conference. Stay tuned. Keep it locked in right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll holler at y'all Monday. Peace and love.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.